a subtle emanation of grandeur, in which he lives and moves and entertains, with a sly nonchalance that is not entirely unpractised. He is invariably a bachelor, yet he never appears to get entangled with the women who surround him, who love him so dearly. It is just possible, and this you may or may not have noticed, that there is a frustration, a discontent, a regret somewhere inside him, even a slight aberration. I don't think I need say any more. I have been very frank. You should know me well enough by now to judge me fairly, and, dare I hope it, to sympathize with me when you hear my story. You may even decide that much of the blame for what has happened should be placed not upon me, but upon a lady called Gladys Ponsonby. After all, she was the one who started it. Had I not escorted Gladys Ponsonby back to her house that night nearly 6 months ago, and had she not spoken so freely to me about certain people and certain things, then this tragic business could never have taken place. It was last December, if I remember rightly, and I had been dining with the Ashendons in that lovely house of theirs that overlooks the southern fringe of Regent's Park. There were a fair number of people there, but Gladys Ponsonby was the only one beside myself who had come alone. So when it was time for us to leave, I naturally offered to see her safely back to her house. She accepted, and we left together in my car. But unfortunately, when we arrived at her place, she insisted that I come in and have one for the road, as she put it. I didn't wish to seem stuffy, so I told the chauffeur to wait and followed her in. Gladys Ponsonby is an unusually short woman, certainly not more than 4 feet 9 or 10, maybe even less than that. One of those tiny persons who gives me, when I am beside her, the comical, rather wobbly feeling that I am standing on a chair. She is a widow, a few years younger than me, maybe 53 or 4, and it is possible that 30 years ago she was quite a fetching little thing. But now the face is loose and puckered, with nothing distinctive about it whatsoever. The individual features, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, chin, are buried in the folds of fat around the puckered little face, and one does not notice them. Except perhaps the mouth, which reminds me, I cannot help it, of a salmon. In the living room, as she gave me my brandy, I noticed that her hand was a trifle unsteady. The lady is tired, I told myself, so I mustn't stay long. We sat down together on the sofa and for a while discussed the Ashendons' party and the people who were there. Finally, I got up to go. "Sit down, Lionel," she said. "Have another brandy." "No, really, I must go." "Sit down and don't be so stuffy. I'm having another one, and the least you can do is keep me company while I drink it." I watched her as she walked over to the sideboard, this tiny woman, faintly swaying, holding her glass out in front of her with both hands, as though it were an offering. And the sight of her walking like that, so incredibly short and squat and stiff, suddenly gave me the ludicrous notion that she had no legs at all above the knees. "Lionel, what are you chuckling about?" She half turned to look at me as she poured the drink, and some of it slopped over the side of the glass. "Nothing, my dear. Nothing at all." "Well, stop it. And tell me what you think of my new portrait." She indicated a large canvas hanging over the fireplace that I had been trying to avoid with my eye ever since I entered the room. It was a hideous thing, painted, as I well knew, by a man who was now all the rage in London, a very mediocre painter called John Royden. It was a full-length portrait of Gladys, Lady Ponsonby, painted with a certain technical cunning that made her out to be a tall and quite alluring creature. "Charming," I said. "Isn't it, though? I'm so glad you like it." "Quite charming. I think John Royden is a genius. Don't you think he's a genius, Lionel?" "Well, that might be..."